Hey, production team, we missed a slide there at the end from last week. Okay, actually, it's on me. But listen, welcome. Glad to have you here. We got a lot to talk about today. So put on the brakes, grab a cup of coffee, and join the conversation because it's time for Coffee Breaks with Steve. Welcome and welcome if you're tuning in live. This is Coffee Breaks with Steve on Saturday, July 6, 2024. And I just encourage and invite you, if you are here, to say hello in the chat. Let us know that you are here. And once we get into our topic, make sure that you're joining the conversation. If you're tuning in later on and watching the recording of this episode, you can still let us know that you were watching. Make your comments in the chat, ask your questions, make your own observations. We just want to know that you're tuning in, whether you're tuning in on Facebook or YouTube. Want to know that you're here and involve you in the conversation. So welcome. Once again, I'm Steve. This is Coffee Breaks with Steve. It's July 6th. I'm sitting in looking outside at a very sunny day in Spokane, Washington, and actually sitting in another room in the same building is our guest for the day, and actually going to let her join me as co-host here in a moment. So I think most of you already know Chelan, but let's go ahead and bring her on board here. Let her join the conversation. Chelan, I think you're muted. In fact, I know you're muted. Now you're not.
You're in Spokane?
I'm in Spokane. Do you know where you are?
I'm also in Spokane.
Funny coincidence. In fact, yeah, it's not a mistake. We're both here in Spokane, so it's funny when that happens. It's not necessarily. Yeah, it's good. It's good to know. So listen, we're gonna get to our topic for the day in a few minutes, which is about misadventures. And I don't know if you consider the fact that you're in Spokane today a misadventure, but it's going to be about that. But before we do that, I wanted to share a little bit of our sweet and savory.
The charcuterie.
The charcuterie is here, and it's again, we're going to keep this pretty much short, sweet, and to the point. Sorry, vertically challenged, sweet, and to the point today, Chelan. But while you were in New York, you had an opportunity to meet and spend some time with this young lady, Izzy Stein, who's a friend of ours, a friend of the show. Amazing entertainer, a performer, singer, dancer, actor. But she is in the process of creating an album, an LP, and she just on YouTube released one cut from that album called Body of Gold. I'm just going to play a very brief segment of that so you get a sense of her amazing talent.
It's a new season, let go of the past. No more strip teasing, I'm realized. So I love pleasing, you're pleasing me back. Feeling weak at the knees, I won't leave it at that. Got my faith sealed with your powerful mind, 'cause you're making me feel that look in your eyes like a well-played deal. You get better with time, but I'd rather have you than a bottle of wine. Yeah, she's ready to go.
Did she write that?
I believe that's an original. She also does write some of her material. She does covers.
Gorgeous.
But I think everything she's preparing for the new album is original music. I could be wrong, but I just encourage people, if you're not currently connected to Izzy Stein, you can go to YouTube and you can put in her name and you can see on here the spelling. It's Izze for Izzy and Stein, Stein. Look her up. She actually has a couple of YouTube channels, but you can find stuff that she's doing. She even does some short videos where she's just out walking the streets of New York and singing a cappella as she goes, and it's really cool. Plus, she posts some things from time to time at different gigs that she's performing at in the city. So congratulations, Izzy, on moving forward with this album, and we look forward to seeing even more cuts from the album in the weeks and months ahead. Also wanted to let you know about a birthday this week. Amy Mikado has a birthday on July 11th, so we want to wish a happy birthday to Amy.
Happy birthday, Amy.
Happy birthday, Amy. And then here's another special day, and I want to acknowledge this. I don't usually put things like my own birthday and stuff up there, but this one's special because it also includes Carol. And that is that our anniversary, 44 years being married, is coming up at the end of this week, July 12th. And it's weird because this is going to be the first week. Right after the show ends today, I've got to get Carol to the airport. She's flying back to Providence, Rhode Island for a couple weeks for her work, which means that this year, for the first time in 44 years, we won't be in the same place at the same time on our anniversary. We're going to celebrate when she gets home, but we won't be together. We'll certainly be in touch with each other and be able to have a conversation on our anniversary. It's going to be kind of weird because we're going to be on two separate sides of the country for our anniversary this year. And yes, that's actual pictures of the then and now. And I really think we haven't changed at all in 44
two things.
years.
One, so about the wedding photo, that is the face of a man who is winning at life. See that?
Yeah.
He's so proud.
The flip side of that is, does your mom look a little bit tentative in that picture? Like, let's see, what if I just agreed to it?
I think she's really feeling pretty solid about it, but you're going, I did it. Look at that face. Also, the suit. Mwah.
Yeah. 1980, that wide lapel tux with the velvet collar and
velvet. I did not realize you spun.
Well, it was like a velour, I think, and the tie, that bow tie, really makes a statement in and of itself. It's kind of like that bow tie could walk off and have its own life.
I was going to say, it did before and after. It's like Adventure Pooh. I have Winnie the Pooh, who is adventurous, and it's like that, only bow tie.
There you go.
It's probably on Dr. Who.
Gosh.
I also want to say, Mother's beautiful wedding dress. Speaking of misadventures, I destroyed it. I didn't realize it at the time. She was fine with it, but oops.
When you say you destroyed it, it's not like you showed up. You weren't at our wedding, first of all.
No.
Because you weren't born for several years.
No.
7 years later. But the wedding dress was given.
10 years I destroyed it.
It was put into your care in its packing box.
No, not in its packing box.
It was just given to you.
In my dress up stuff, and I thought it was a dress up wedding dress because Carissa and I had some dress up wedding from one of your kids, and I wore it to a modeling shoot in a frickin' pond. I wore it in a pond.
Yeah. Well, could have been worse.
And then I got out of the pond and I went, this dress looks familiar. Oh no.
Well, again, your mom was okay with it. She gave it to you in order for you to use. So
I don't know why she was fine with it.
It served its purpose for us, and we have the pictures and the memories. And by the way, my going along with that, I did not own that tux. Unfortunately, that was rented, so I didn't even get the advantage of being able to hand that beautiful tux off to anyone.
Couldn't hand down the tux.
No, I'm sorry. Because I know people would have. You also have to appreciate, if you were able to get closer up on this, the hairstyle, which is the parted in the middle with the bangs and kind of down over the ears, and the glasses were definitely 1980 style, and the Tom Selleck mustache was part of the.
You look older then than you do now.
That's not necessarily true. Lighting makes a big difference when I'm on.
You know what, Chelan?
You know what, Chelan? But I'll take it as a compliment. We'll just go with that. If anyone else out there has a special day this week that we missed, maybe you have a wedding anniversary, a birthday, or something else that we should be celebrating and acknowledging with you, please put that in the chat so that we can do so. And if you have something coming up later in the month of July or even later in the year, can you email us at cbwsteve@comcast.net? We'll make sure we put that on our calendar. And when the right week comes, we'll acknowledge and celebrate with you as well.
Or else.
Or else, better do it, or else. No, I try to go back and check all my calendars, previous years' run sheets, just to make sure I don't miss anything. On Facebook, I go on other social media sites, and I still end up so often missing out on people's special days that I'm supposed to know better. I've had more than once, and especially wedding anniversaries that I know them. I'm sure that I know those wedding anniversaries, and I see something pop up on Facebook or other social media later on, the week after I was supposed to acknowledge it, where that couple is celebrating their wedding anniversary. I'm going, yeah, that's so cool. It is time, isn't it? Oh, I didn't even mention them last week, and I should have, because they're part of our Coffee Breaks family. So,
by the way, I will say I've decided if we have a Mimsy sighting in the back, because there's a wall here that leads back to.
Yeah, you're sitting in our living room. Yeah.
If we do have a Mimsy sighting, she swears she won't cross behind us, but if she does, I'm adding that to the drinking game and telling everyone to drink. Just FYI, there might also be the small heads of children occasionally. They're trying their darndest to be really quiet.
Family weekend. We've got family here, and that's part of what goes on with Coffee Breaks. We don't stand on formality too much around here. So
we sit. We mostly sit.
We sit with formality.
We sit with formality.
Right. Well, listen, I want to get on to our topic, because we do need to stick to our time schedule today. I know sometimes we give ourselves the leeway to run over a bit, but as soon as we get off the air today, I've got to hop in the car and take Mom to the airport, take Carol to the airport. So we're going to try to stay on track, but I want to talk about your recent trip to New York. Now, you went to New York with your sister-in-law, your husband's sister, Adele, who has been on this show before as well. She's been a guest on the show. And you're both actors, you're both performers. And so the trip to New York was around a couple of different things, just to give some background. Adele appeared in some episodes of Star Trek Picard in a season or so ago. And so she gets invited on a regular basis to attend Comic-Cons, and particularly Star Trek conventions where there are celebrities there, and she's on the celebrity panels, gets to sign autographs and stuff. She invited you to come along to this one that was going to be in Long Island, New York, with the plan that you would both hang around New York for extra days, doing things primarily in Manhattan, finding workshops, finding networking opportunities. So that was the plan.
Yeah, it was going to be a big week.
It was going to be a big week. And you actually arrived, as it turned out, in town a couple of days ahead of Adele. As the schedules were coming together, the original plan was get there at the same time, leave at the same time. But as you were each kind of individually finding your feet with what this trip was going to be like, you got there a couple of days early. You want to just pick up the story?
I've never been to New York alone. I've been there twice before, and both times was with you guys. At minimum, it was with my parents. And beyond that, the second time I went was with the entire family and like partners at the time as well. So it was a huge group. So this is the first time I was in New York alone. And I wasn't nervous about it. I was excited about it. And I will say, even though there were plenty of misadventures, I want to start out by saying I had the best time. Like, I really enjoyed myself, even with the misadventures. I think just my attitude about it is like, well, that's a new experience. Never had that happen before. Put that in my book. So, yeah. So I started off the first night. I got into New York so late that I just, even though it was over the amount I wanted to spend, I had booked a hotel that was right next to the JFK airport. And already just to get there, it was like an hour. And there was like nonsense happening just to get on the tram because they had to pick up and all this. And I had very New York experiences. Walked out of the airport and immediately heard the honking of horns. I was like, I know where I am in the world. I wonder where I could be. And then a guy blocking traffic. There was only one way in for the buses, and a guy in in a little car. You shouldn't drive in New York. Like most people don't have cars. Little car. And he was like edging along. I'm like, is this gentleman having a health issue happen? Because he's just like stopping and going, and there was no room to get around him. And a New York taxi guy comes up to me out of one of the buses, goes, "What's going on?" Because everybody's backed up around the car. I said, "I don't know. This guy's blocking traffic." He goes, move the car, like to me, but not at at me, but not to me. Just move the car. So the entire week, I told Adele this, and our thing the entire week was, if something just needs to be, just move the car. Somebody move the car.
So now you're in Queens, which is where both JFK and LaGuardia airports are in New York, and that's going to come into play a little bit later here in a day or two. But you're in Queens, and you were able to stay in Queens for a couple of days on your own, and
just the one.
Just the one day. You stayed one night, and then you moved into. Did you then find a place in Manhattan? Was that where you were?
I did because I had. The first night I got in, it was past midnight when I got checked into my hotel. The whole next day I was on my own. The day after that, I was supposed to meet Adele at the airport. So
which airport was Adele coming into? Which airport was Adele flying into 2 days later?
LaGuardia.
Which is also in Queens.
Yep.
So you did have a little bit of time on your own for a day, and I know again, for the sake of time, we can't go into all the detail, but you did found some thrift shopping. That's what you were looking for, right? Was thrift shopping?
Well, I had a modeling shoot later in the week. That I was making myself do a modeling shoot, and so I decided I wanted to check out the thrift scene in New York to see if there's any cool outfits I could get for the modeling shoot. And so I had very typical New York experiences of just walking around and shopping thrift stores, which none of the tourists go to the thrift stores. So it was like I was hanging out with other New Yorkers, it was fun. Nice.
Okay, but as you're thrift store shopping, and the other thing was as Adele got into town, the goal was as well for you just to accompany her as kind of a, she was
going to get the black car treatment. She was going to get somebody's coming to pick you up and drive you
the
to
town
Long
car
Island
to take you to this. There was supposed to be VIP treatment, but then you were just going to hang out with her at the track convention for a couple of days before you guys went to Manhattan, and you could help her kind of schlep stuff around or just kind of be there as her assistant. So
I'm just happy
but you did find a place. Just briefly talk about the place you ran across while you were thrift shopping.
Okay, so I'm thrifting, and I got myself to the Flatiron District of New York. If you're following along at home and bring up the map. So I'm in the Flatiron District, and getting out of Queens, I'd never been in Queens before. So for the first, I was like looking so touristy, dragging my luggage through Queens going, I can't look more touristy than I do right now. Couldn't figure out how to get on a bus, didn't have a pass.
You either looked like dragging your luggage around. You either looked like a tourist or a typical resident of Queens.
well, no comment, but spicy, Father, very spicy this morning. So I'm walking to try and find, and I asked this lady at the bus stop, I went, where can I get a bus pass? She looks at me like I'm insane. I have 3 heads. She goes, if you don't have a bus pass, you can't get one for there's nothing within 5 miles of here. She goes, let me ask the bus driver if you can just get on the bus. And so she, on my behalf, she asked the bus driver, she doesn't have a pass. Can you just get it? And the bus driver looks at me like, if I leave her here, she's not going to make it. Yeah, get on. And let me schlep on the bus. He just let me get on the bus and ride for free for 15 stops to get to the main transit center so I could get a pass.
So you could get a pass.
So that was the first thing. So then I get there.
Can I just mention this? Can I just toss this in? Because this has been my experience in New York and many places on the East Coast. There is this perception that the East Coast, and New York in particular, people are not friendly. They are crass. They are.
I was told, don't compliment people.
I will say this. It is true that you can be places in New York and something weird's happening and people just keep going. But when it comes to one-on-one interactions, and if you need help with something, you ask for directions, you need assistance.
That's what I found in LA too, surprisingly.
I have not met in New York. But with Mike, so I've been in New York more than I've been just walking
Yeah.
around LA. And my experience in New York, in every one of the boroughs that I've been in, and this is true of other places on the East Coast, it's true of other places in the country, but outside of the perceptions, I have found that New York residents are very willing to be helpful and in their own way. Yeah, they're very direct,
Very
but
direct.
they will engage with you very personally.
Yeah.
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 Anyway,
So it's a misnomer. And I have a habit of, I think, just ingratiating myself with the world. If I see somebody like wearing something that I like, I'll yell across the street, "I love your outfit." And people told me, "Don't do that in New York. You'll just freak them out." I'm like, well, challenge accepted.
guess
So
what? Hold my beer.
I still did it. And then people would tell me, "Thank you. And I like your dress." And I was like, "Thank you so much." Like, it is what you bring into it. I genuinely think your interactions are going to be whatever you bring into it.
Absolutely. And I don't want to rush the story, but we are going to be short on time. So I want to get to the place that you found while you were thrifting, and then I want to get to some of the true misadventures of your trip.
For those of you following along at home, I believe it's called Dover Street Market.
And it's in Manhattan.
It's in Manhattan. I was thrifting all day. I was just finding whatever thrift stores in the Flatiron District, and I said, Dover Street Market. Okay, a street market. I wonder is it food? Is it clothes? I don't know. I walk into this thing. There is first of all, there's an entourage of people, like all dressed in black, sunglasses outside with this big black SUV, which is how all the celebrities travel. Somebody's here. And I'm like, I don't know why they're here at a street market, but okay. And I just like, no one's stopping me from entering, so I'm going to go in. And the people inside, dressed to the night, 3-piece suit this young gentleman was wearing, younger than me. He said, "Hi, can I help you find anything?" And I said, "I don't know what I've just walked into." He went, "Oh, let me tell you." And he proceeds to tell me that this is like it's a shopping mall, like high-end shopping mall / art installation. Google this thing if you have never heard it. And they're all standing there. So I ingratiated myself to this young man without meaning to, because he got to tell me about it. And then he's over there whispering to another young lady, and I'm smiling. And they go, "Do you know who that is outside?" I said, "No, but the way his entourage is acting, I know I'm supposed to know who he is." And they're laughing. So he told me it's an 8-story thing. Every story has multiple, like, different artisans, different designers who have different parts of the floor or an entire floor to themselves, and either start at the top and make your way down, or vice versa. This thing it was so arty. I turn a corner and there's like somebody there. I'm like, "Excuse me." No, it's a mannequin family, all dressed in black, like black on their faces, and there's a chandelier on the floor. And I'm like, okay, art. And then around the corner is a little shed. And then there's $6,000 skirts. And I don't understand what I'm walking into.
You're not thrifting at this point.
I'm not thrifting.
Really, you're not shopping. You're just
well, I did. I mean, the number of times people were like, "Why don't you try that on?" I'm like, I don't want to touch it.
I don't need a $5,000 dress.
No, so I need that $5,000 dress, but I'm not doing it.
All right. So now you've had some shopping experience in Manhattan. Yeah. Now you're supposed to meet Adele, pick her up meet her at the airport at baggage claim at LaGuardia Airport. So now you're on your way to the airport. Let's talk about that misadventure briefly.
So the main thing you need to know is that I think in my twisted little brain, I thought there were only 2 airports, because I was only using 2 airports.
And you were thinking that the one you came in JFK, and that's the one in Queens.
And I was flying out of Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey is where I was flying out of. So I made sure I left time. I stowed my stuff for the day. Like I was going to go, and I had it all worked out so that I could meet her at Newark. We already know this is not going to go well. I could meet her at Newark, be early or right on time, and then we'd get the black card treatment and go all the way to Long Island. And so she's going, "Where are you?" And I'm going, she goes, "I'm at baggage claim 6. I go to baggage claim. There is no baggage claim 6. Newark Airport is split into 3 terminals, and to get between the terminals is an adventure in itself. I passed the same woman twice on the tram, and we're like, "We We've met before because I was on the tram an hour earlier trying to figure out where the heck Adele was. She's sending me pictures. She drops a pin that shows, here's where I am in the map of the airport. And 2 hours we're looking for each other. I'm about ready to cry. I'm showing the picture to people going, where is this? Where is this? She dropped her pin. The people who work there are saying, oh, that's back in Terminal A. No, it was a different airport. The people who worked there didn't realize it was a different airport.
So you're on the phone with Adele trying to figure out why you can't meet up.
And our phones are dying. Our phones are dying. And it's like, we got to figure out where. And this girl has been flying all day. She's waiting for me. The black card
She's waiting for you at LaGuardia to get to Long Island.
At LaGuardia, which makes more sense than Newark.
You're in the other state. You're in Newark, New Jersey. As far
as mind and physically.
So again, you end up.
Okay, so 2 hours later, she finally says, "Are you at the right airport?" I said, "I'm at Newark." She goes, "I'm at LaGuardia." Oh no, Chelan. And I went, "It's okay. I will rent a car. I will come and get you. This is my bad. I will come and get you." Because the black card treatment, they didn't end up doing it. They canceled it, which was its own thing. It's like, okay, so we got to make our way there anyway. I will just rent a car. I go to rent a car. It's like I was supposed to meet her at 6:30. We're coming up on 9
o'clock
at this point. She's been waiting in her LaGuardia airport for hours now for me. So I go to rent a car, go back and forth between the rental places because a lot of them don't have anything available. And then when I finally get a very kind gentleman at a premium desk he's like, "Don't tell anybody. I'll help you over here." The only credit card I had on me was a credit card that was Dustin's credit card. We're playing a game right now with our finances. His had a 0% APR. So I was just going to use his credit card. The guy looks at the credit card and goes, "I literally cannot rent to you because I need a credit card in your name." And at this point, the tears. And I'm like, "Thank you, though. I appreciate it." He's like, "I'm so sorry." I said, you did everything you did. It's okay. It's just one of those days. And I go over in the corner like, "Adele, this." And she goes, "So I'm going to go ahead and get a lift. And I'm going to lift to the hotel. We'll figure it out later." I said, "I'll meet you there tomorrow morning," because I didn't know what I was going to do. It's an hour and a half from the hotel I'm supposed to be in Long Island. Yeah. So I end up looking, and a lift to get there, $150 later. That was the best option I had because I would still, just to get to Long Island, I couldn't take subway. I couldn't. Yeah. It was going to cost money no matter what. And
you're going to be sitting at Newark's airport all night and trying to figure out something in the morning.
I looked at that. I'm going, even then, if I tried to do a bus or something, it would still cost ridiculous. It would take so long.
So, all right. So now eventually you end up getting to the hotel. Adele's at the hotel. First night is already kind of a misadventure.
Yeah.
And again, to skip ahead. So you go through the convention, you do your thing. Now, the other thing to mention here, and we'll just skip over some of this for the sake of time, you also caught a cold, started to catch a cold.
I was going to say, I had a little tickle in my throat from about the time I landed, and I'm going, it's fine. The airport, everything was dry, and I have asthma. We're fine.
So you just assumed. But now you've got a cold that's really taking on a raging element of its own while Adele is doing her conference. You tried to do some things with her at the convention.
The first day I did all the things, and I'm like just popping as I can at that point.
Yeah. So now the convention's over, and the two of you are now heading to the hotel that you had reserved on was this on the New Jersey side of the river?
This is New Jersey side. We went all the way from Long Island.
Low.
Up to New Jersey, up to Secaucus, New Jersey.
And
I had insisted on this.
So again, for the sake of time, what happened when you got to the hotel? As briefly as we can do it and still cover the details.
We changed some dates as we were planning, and this was Sunday, and I get to the hotel, first of all, and they say, "We don't have a reservation for you." And I paid a week's reservation. I went, "You should." So I gave them my ID, and they said, "Are you sure you're at the right hotel?" And I went, "Yeah, the extended stay in Secaucus, New Jersey." They said, "There are 2." And I said, "Why would there be 2?"
And within just a couple miles of each other.
And Adele goes, "Yeah, Chelan, there's 2." Like she knew that. And I'm like,
or she's pretending that she knew that. Like,
no, she knew. She was like, "Yeah, I looked it up. There's 2." And I went, "Okay, this can't be happening to me. I am misadventure at this point between leaving her high and dry at the airport and now the hotel. And I went, okay, I will pay the Uber now to get us the 2.5 miles to the other one.
So now you get to the other hotel, which is the correct hotel.
The first one we ended up at was a bit of I don't know, crack den or something. It was dark and dingy, and we're like, okay, it's okay.
Good. This is good. So now you get to the other hotel in Secaucus that is the correct hotel, and you try to check in.
And I try and check in, and they say, we don't have a reservation under that name. I said, yeah, you do. And they say, what's it? And I said, well, here it is. Here's my reservation. They said, yeah, you made that reservation to start yesterday, and when you didn't check in, we canceled it. Do you hear Carissa over there?
Because you and Adele both had been kind of adjusting dates as you were planning.
We'd been adjusting dates, so like figuring out when you're flying in.
So now you don't have a reservation at this hotel. So again, what was the solution to that?
The solution to that was I turned over Dustin's credit card, bless Dustin, and I said, do you have a room that we can rent for tonight? They go, yeah, we can put you in I'd gotten a really good deal on a 2-bedroom or something like that. Extended stay with a kitchen and all this stuff. They said, we can put you in a 1-bedroom. One of you can sleep on the couch. I was like, fine, that's what we're doing. I'm sick as a dog. And we get up to this hotel room. It is dingy. It is not looking good. And we open up the couch so and I'm like, I'm sleeping on the couch, given everything. I'm not having you sleep on the couch, given everything I've already put you through, Adele. And we open it up and
not gonna
and just laughing at the sheer, just like, this is so bad. And I went ahead and just preemptively paid for the week because I didn't know what we were going to do, didn't know what we were going to find. Right? Right, Jerry? And so I sleep on the couch that night. And the next morning we pack up our stuff and we just go. And I've been assured that if we only stayed for a night or two, that I could get a refund. I don't know if that refund ever came through. I need to check with Dustin. We were waiting on it for a while, and then other things have happened. So I didn't look.
So where did you end up?
I'd gotten that. By the way, I'd gotten the original full week for like $620. I was so proud of myself. And then doing it for that one night for the week. When I did that one, when I got there, it was like $1,000. So I was like, great, that's fantastic for me. I love this for me. So then we just decided to book a place, spent extra money, booked a place in Manhattan, in Times Square. And it was way too expensive.
But now you're in the central area.
We're in the central area. There was a footman. They were nice to us. It was like, this is good.
It was almost worth the extra dollars at this stage. So now things are at least
budget's out the window at this stage.
Budget's out the window. And the other thing that's kind of out the window is that, again, so we can get through parts of this story, because when you shared this story with your mom and me, it took 2 sessions of about an hour each to share this. To be fair,
I wrote down everything that had happened.
I will say this at this point, that if you want to hear more of the in-between details, some of you are already saying, all right, I'm stressed just hearing this. If you want to hear more of the details, let me know, if you're not already connected to Chelan. By the way, another misadventure is that right now, through a variety of things that we're not going to have time to talk about.
I didn't quit Facebook, guys.
No, but there was a hacking incident, and her Facebook is not working, and her Messenger is not working. But if you want to get
my phone is barely working.
Phone is barely working. But if you want to get in touch with Chelan and hear more of the story, we can work that out. But anyway, now you guys are in Manhattan, but you had times set up to meet with people. You had workshops and other things.
I canceled a lot of that because I was sick. Canceled a lot of mine.
You did ultimately have an opportunity to meet a couple of people you wanted to meet. You did get to meet with Izzy Stein, we already talked about, and that was a lot of fun. You got to meet Chrissy Whitehead, who's another dear friend.
And Adele made me go to my modeling shoot, and I'm really glad she did.
And that was a good thing. Now I want to wrap up with this one, is that you guys, the last misadventure I mentioned, the final day, you guys were trying to get from point A to point B for one of your
I need you all to understand the time in between these nonsense things. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But, it's kind of like the bookends. And now you guys are going to participate in a little self-aware and wellness little workshop with Chrissy Whitehead for actors and performers.
And Adele
it's going to be in Central Park.
Yeah. Adele is primarily a dancer. So I was like, this is great for the both of us.
Great for you. Yeah. So you need to get from where you were and there's something going on, and there are events going on, so traffic is at a dead stop in that part of Manhattan.
Here's the thing. We underestimated the Puerto Ricans.
Yeah,
because
there's a Puerto Rican Day.
Independence Day, and they were having a parade that took over most of Manhattan.
Took
and we
over
did
most
not know
of-
this.
Yeah, that area below Central Park that you were trying to get through. So you end up flagging down and seeing one of those
Yes.
carts.
So I don't know if you've never been. There's like basically rickshaws that go through Central
Bicycle
Park,
rickshaws.
except they're run on bicycles. And so we'd seen these things around. We're like, that sounds fun, but also probably more expensive than we want to do. But at this point, we were just trying to get to the rendezvous in Central Park, and we could have walked there, but it would have taken us an hour. And so we could not get a Lyft or an Uber. Everything is shut down.
They wouldn't be able to get through anyway. At least the bicycle rickshaws can kind of get around and stuff. So you
bicycle
get this
rickshaws
guy.
can go to the weird places. So we see one from Central Park, and we're like, okay, we'll just flag down this guy. We ask him, do you take Zelle? Because Adele's like, I'm going to pay for this one. She goes, do you take, not Zelle, the other one. But anyway, do you take this app? And he goes, yeah. And I said, okay, we need to get to Tavern on the Green, which is a famous restaurant in Central Park, because we're going to be right next door to that. So it's an easy landmark. He goes, yeah, okay. And we get in, and he goes, can you put it in my phone? And I'm like, so you don't know where it is. Okay, so we put it in his phone, sure. And we start going. This guy, we see on the seat back in front of us, what was it? $15 a minute, some ridiculous sum of money per minute that we are in this rickshaw. And he starts weaving and taking his time, and we're going, and it's obviously has a little bit of a language barrier, or at least that he's making it seem like he does. And we're going, rapido, come on, we're late.
But it's becoming apparent that he's almost taking a circuitous route around.
He is. And also he's blasting music, and it's driving us nuts.
Yeah.
And
so what happened?
He starts weaving, and I hear right behind me, hey, and I can't see because it's but then 3 bicyclists come around him because he's weaving all over the darn street.
Sure.
And they grab the front of his bicycle, and one of them goes, bleepity bleep, what the heck are you doing? And turning to us going, this guy's being a jerk. They didn't say it quite like that. We said, yes, he is. And they said, he goes, how much is he charging you? I said, I don't even know. And he goes, it's free. It's free because this guy, I can guarantee he's not licensed. And the guy's like just trying to ignore them, kind of turns to us, apologizing, not for himself, but for the fact that this guy had come up, and they're, yelling things at him and then moving on. We get out. It was like a 10-minute ride.
Yeah. But now how much time has passed, and you're still a ways from Central Park?
We get to the edge of Central Park.
So to get to the climax of this part of it, what did you guys end up doing? How did Adele handle it?
We got to the edge of Central Park, and we're like, we're getting out here. And he goes, how much do we owe you? $150. No.
So what did Adele end up doing?
Adele ended up ordering a Lyft, and it was like watching a masterclass of somebody deal with this, which was, I stress out at this stuff. She was like, absolutely not. I will give you $30. And he goes,
and
no,
even that. But anyway, so was she able to ultimately just say, this is what we're paying you, goodbye?
Yeah,
and you guys
eventually, and he yelled stuff at our back, but we got a Lyft, and we went the rest of the way. But that was our last day, is we got into a fight with a rickshaw man.
Yeah. So just to wrap this story up, we didn't cover all the fun things that you got to do. We focused on the misadventures, but you still look at this as having been a great trip and a fun trip. And both you and Adele,
trip. These were the major issues that happened on a 2-week trip. Everything in between.
For some people, like we saw in the comments, a lot of people would go, that would have been enough. The first 3 days, I would have said, sorry, I'm back on a plane. I'm out of here. But you look at misadventures as being part of the journey. You and Adele both, fortunately. And there were some things that we didn't have time to talk about that were bonding. There were things that you did that created some very special positive memories. And even these misadventures are part of creating those memories, things that you and Adele can get back to and laugh about. And that you, when you were sharing with us, even, you did it with a smile. I mean, it's like,
the last thing I will say is
yeah.
that as crazy as this trip was, I absolutely would have done it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know my sister-in-law very well. And now that I think about it, I know her so much better now. And I came out of this trip with a best friend. And for me, that was worth it.
That's worth it. Well, for everybody out there, once again, there's so much more to this story. I pushed Chelan through this very quickly, just for the sake of time today. And normally we would have let ourselves run over the time a little bit, but we are on a schedule today. So Chelan, I'm sorry if I forced you to leave out things that you wanted to share as part of this, but I would invite people, reach out to Chelan. If you don't have her contact, you want to get it through me, I'll confirm with her it's okay to give
through
out
email, because apparently can't do Facebook right now.
Can't do Facebook at the moment, but to hear more of her story and connect about that, that would be a lot of fun. So Chelan, thank you. I do want to just share what's coming up in the next few weeks. We've got a full schedule for the next few weeks on Coffee Breaks. And I want to tell you, whoops, that jumped ahead. So let's go back here. So next week, I'm going to be introducing a lady by the name of Jazz Azari, who is an author, but her story is so much more. It includes her books and her writing, but there is so much to her story that we're actually splitting it out over 2 weeks. And we don't typically do that, but it just provides more opportunity for you to learn more about Jazz and her message to be the hero of your own story, because we're going to share her story. So on the 20th, we're going to be talking about her story and learning more from Jazz, part 2. And
I haven't met her, but I love her already.
Already, right? And then on the 27th, we're going to be meeting a couple who have a great story together about their life together, but they are both music teachers in the same school district. They teach at different schools, but they are funny and amazing and engaging. And you're going to meet Jason and Cheryl and Boris and hear their story side by side on the 27th. And then there's going to be a couple of weeks where Chelan and Carissa are going to be back and hijacking the show. Carol and I are going to be traveling outside the country with friends for a couple of weeks, and Chelan and Carissa will be here. And once again, you're going to want to be a part of those episodes, the guests and the topics that they're going to have with them. And just as we always do, I want to invite you, if there are topics or guests that you would like to see on the show, please reach out to us, cbwsteve@comcast.net. Let us know your ideas. Many of the guests, many of the topics that we have on here on a regular basis don't come directly from me. They come from you. They come from people who tune in and they say, hey, how about this idea? And oftentimes are able to make introductions that lead to amazing guests. Chelan has done that on multiple occasions, has been the source of guests and topics, including this one. Yes. But just want to encourage you to do that. And the final thing is, once again, my plug. Many of you, most of you now, I think, are subscribers to our YouTube channel, Coffee Breaks with Steve, where we are working to add even more content, provide even more opportunities for subscribers. So I would invite you, if you haven't already done so, to please subscribe to that channel, look at and like the videos that are there of these episodes, even if you're watching live on Facebook. And please go out there, copy that link, copy that link and share it with other people in your network. You know, how many people would have enjoyed Chelan's story today? Maybe they have experiences of their own in New York. But when you share it with other people, when you go out there and take time to like the videos and to click on things, it raises our visibility. The algorithm on YouTube helps to get that out there. And that helps us to make sure that more people are seeing this and hearing from us about our topics, meeting our amazing guests. So just a reminder and an invitation to do that, please. And again, thank you for being here today. Thanks, Chelan, for sharing your story. It's fun. It's amazing. And misadventures sometimes are the best stories of all. So, and look, there's Carol. She did make her cameo. I love that. So, listen, thank you all for being here. Please remember that you have a voice, you have hands and feet that can get out there and touch the lives of others. So find a way to make a difference in your world this week. Have a great week. God bless you. We'll see you next time.